Here's what we're working on for Fox 59 News at 6.
I think this is the lead race, and they like the idea that a outsider, a business guy, is actually running.
I fought for our families, fought for our jobs, fought for our communities, and it's a real privilege to have the chance to run again to serve.
Now at 6, congressional control on the line tonight, and a lot of eyes on the state of Indiana and our pivotal race for Senate. We're live at campaign headquarters.
Plus, some Hoosiers still in line at this hour. The election nightmare in one central Indiana county, we'll show you.
And this cold weather pattern is about to get much colder. We're tracking several more chances for rain, some snow, and an early season Arctic blast. When it will arrive coming up.
And an all-out manhunt for a robbery suspect tonight. How you can help detectives find their guy now on the news at 6.
From Indiana's #1 news source, this is Fox 59 News at 6.
And this is the story everyone is talking about and the nation is watching. Election night in America tonight, we learn who will have congressional control for the next 2 years.
At this very moment, the polls are closing here in the state of Indiana, and our pivotal race for Senate is among the many toss-ups gaining national attention tonight. That heated race, one of our big stories on this election night. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Dan Spieler.
And I'm Fanchen Stinger. Fox 59, of course, is your election headquarters. We've got you covered with team coverage all across central Indiana. We are covering each and every race that matters to you.
Let's take a look here at all the reporters we have standing by. A lot of big races and key measures on the ballot tonight, including 3 major referendums for local schools. And as you see, we have crews standing by tonight across central Indiana with the very latest.
That's right, but first we are following some voting issues, those issues in Johnson County that created pretty much an election day nightmare. System failures led to long lines and a lot of frustrated voters.
Fox 59 Zach Myers live in Johnson County right now, where some voters are still in line even as the polls close here in central Indiana. If you're in line, though, you're good to vote, right, Zach?
That's right, and there are hundreds of people still in line. Right behind me, you see they've set up a play area, kids activity center here, as the line of grown-ups is still literally wrapping around Greenwood Christian Church. We can show you a quick look around this room. Hundreds of people still in line. The polls just closed, but they've been saying if you're in line at 6 o'clock, you will still get to vote. Now this afternoon, we did get word that the computer problems that caused all the trouble had been fixed, but not before several hours of frustration for many voters.
It does make me question whether my vote's going to count. It does make me question that a little bit.
That the servers were down countywide, so it doesn't matter if we went to a different polling booth, that the servers were down, so it's nothing we could really do.
Around 10 o'clock this morning, voting systems all across Johnson County started to slow down, with some polling sites completely stopping at some points. County officials say the voting machines were not the problem, though. It was their online e-poll books, which are used to confirm your ID and then check you in before you vote. Those poll books were connected to servers at Omaha-based Election Systems and Software, and it appears those servers were simply overwhelmed by the high volume today. We spoke to people who waited in line up to 3 hours to vote, or they gave up and left. This afternoon, though, election officials say they were able to bypass those servers and things started moving more quickly. Then later this afternoon, that vendor, ES&S, released a statement saying that the server problems have been fixed and things were back to normal.
What can I say except we're sorry it happened? I mean, things happen.
At one point today, election officials were considering a court order to extend voting hours today, but now that things were back to running normally this afternoon, they were not planning to do that. They're urging anyone who left early without voting to come back. Of course, now the polls are closed, but again, if you're in line at 6 o'clock, you do get to vote. And they were also asked at the county level, how do you plan to hold this vendor responsible or accountable for all the problems? And they said, any way that we can. Now, the people here at Greenwood Christian Church say the people who are in line will get to vote, and if that means people are voting at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock tonight, they're prepared to keep this open till midnight if they have to. Guys?
Zach, thank you. Quite a situation there today in Johnson County. We've also been following some breaking news in Monroe County. Voting will now go until 7 p.m. there in Monroe County tonight. This after some polling locations actually ran out of ballots.
Yeah, officials there telling us the high turnout caused shortages of paper ballots. However, no one was turned away, but some voters do have to use electronic machines now that were intended as backups, and that is what is causing the delay.
Yeah, election officials put in a court request to extend voting time another hour, and as we've been telling you, that order was just approved to vote until 7 p.m. there in Monroe County. Right now, we want to move along to the other big story tonight. Senator Joe Donnelly and Indiana Democrats awaiting results for our crucial Senate race. They are at the Hyatt in downtown Indianapolis. And as soon as we have some results, you'll see them here at the bottom of your screen. Right now, let's go to Fox 59's Trevor Shirley live at Democratic headquarters, where Senator Donnelly will be later tonight. Trevor?
Hey, good evening. We're not sure exactly when he's going to show up here, but you can bet he'll be here at some point, along with most of the other local and statewide Democrats running for election this cycle. As you just mentioned, most of the polls in our area have just closed, so at this point they're going to start counting those early and absentee ballots. Depending on how this race goes, it could end up being a very late night, especially if it turns out to be a close race. So many people across the country watching this matchup between Mike Braun and Joe Donnelly because it has the potential to impact the balance of power in the U.S. Senate. Recent polling have shown it being very tight, and going into this, it's expected to be a toss-up. So again, it could be a late night. Earlier, we did catch up with Senator Donnelly, who talked about what serving as senator has meant to him.
It's such a privilege to have the chance to run for United States Senator in the state we all love so much. I've been privileged to serve as a senator for the last 6 years.
And regardless of when this race wraps up tonight, whenever we find out the results, you can bet we'll have you covered. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and send it over to my colleague, Haley Bull. She's with the Republican headquarters, also here in Indianapolis. Haley.
Thanks, Trevor. The Republican Party is gearing up for what they hope will be celebrations here tonight. The state party chairman tells us it's been a hard-fought battle, but they feel good. We know they're leaving no stone unturned, working up to the last few hours, knocking on doors, making calls, trying to get people to the polls and vote for Mike Braun. Mike Braun is, of course, in that heated Senate race. He's built himself as a political outsider, a businessman, and someone who will get things done in Washington. He got some help getting voters energized from President Trump in Fort Wayne last night and at several rallies the past few weeks throughout the state. He voted in his hometown of Jasper yesterday and spent today in spots throughout Marion County and its edges. We caught up with him today. Take a listen.
If you're happy with $21 trillion in debt, send Joe back. If you want any chance of getting it changed, send people there that have done things in the real world where you actually can't live like that.
Right now, we're waiting on those first few results to come in and this room to start filling up. We'll, of course, keep you updated. Reporting downtown, Haley Bull, Fox 59 News.
Haley, thank you. Of course, we are closely monitoring the race. Right now, we are still waiting for early results to start coming in. Once we do get those numbers, we, of course, are going to keep you updated throughout the evening. You don't want to turn from Fox 59. The Real Politics poll average giving Democratic Senator Joe Donnelly a slight edge over Republican challenger Mike Braun and Libertarian candidate Lucy Brenton. And again, as these numbers do start to come in, a reminder, you can track the results on air with us. And these are the very first numbers that we are getting into the Fox 59 election headquarters. As you can see here, Mike Braun, 57%, Joe Donnelly, 38%, Libertarian Lucy Brenton, 5%, and this is with 1% reporting. Is that correct, Andrew?
Yeah, that's correct. 1% of precincts reporting,
okay.
And so far about a 900 vote lead for Mike Braun in the very first numbers that we're seeing in this race.
And you are watching this with us, so you at home, these are the very first numbers.
You saw that update right as the screen came up.
Instantaneously. That's why you want to make sure you stick with Fox 59 tonight. We're going to get you these results as soon as they get posted.
And we'll be having some of those results on the bottom of your screen throughout the night as well. As our coverage continues tonight, we'll be with you on air and online. Right after the news at 7, we'll be breaking down each and every key race for you at 7:30 on a special edition of In Focus. We're teaming up with our partners at CBS 4 and the Indy Star to bring you expert analysis and all the results. We'll be back online with that coverage. It continues at 8 o'clock up until Fox 59 News at 10 and Newspoint at 11. And of course, I'll also have a full election recap this weekend on Sunday's edition of In Focus. Be sure to join us Sunday morning at 9:30 right here on Fox 59. You can download our podcast as well. Our In Focus panelists, they will all be here tonight to break down these numbers on our race for Senate and all of the big races we're watching across the state tonight. We're also watching our weather today. Really been started as a gloomy day with heavy winds, but not bad tonight.
And look at this gorgeous view right now live. The evening, the sunset is just absolutely beautiful on this election evening. For more on our forecast for the week, let's check in with the Weather Authority. Hi, Brian.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sky fanchon, as you pointed out. And there's another perspective from Westfield here. This is at Grand Park. A gorgeous sky. You've got the blues and the reds, the hues. They're all intermingled with some mid and high level clouds. Decorative sky definitely overhead. The winds have subsided, and it did start awfully rainy and windy. We had a peak wind gust of around 40 miles per hour. The temperatures have been all over the place. We actually had a high temperature today in the mid to upper 50s and then settled back to in the upper 40s around daybreak. The wind was blowing. The rain moved out. The skies brightened up and the temperatures did rebound in the mid 50s. We're done with rain for a while. In fact, the 5/100ths of an inch of rain goes on top of about 1/3 of an inch yesterday, all in part with a storm system that's still pulling its clouds off to the north and east. We've got a delightful night coming and much calmer winds are settling in as well. Temperatures aren't off of where they're supposed to be from this time of the year by that much. We typically top out in the mid to upper 50s. We've been around 55, 56 the last few hours, but this makes a difference. The winds are beginning to subside. The wind gusts that were up to 48 miles per hour in Lafayette, they have backed off considerably. And with calmer conditions, we've got more of a typical November night coming with lows that settle back into the 30s. But this cold spell that has gripped us now for a better part of 3+ weeks is renewed with a shot of chilly air behind this storm system, and several more storm systems in the 7-day forecast bring rain and snow chances, plus early season Arctic air is still in the outlook. I'll let you know when temperatures could be lowering to the coldest November levels in 3 years.
Brian, thank you. In a Fox 59 crime tracker alert tonight, a woman is robbed of her rent money right outside a check cashing business on the northeast side. She says a man carrying a gun came right up to her outside the building demanding cash. Take a close look at your screen here. We're going to be showing you, hopefully here, some surveillance pictures that show the suspect wearing a camouflage jacket and a white hat. There he is. He got away with $1,400 cash. The victim says she's had a hard time making ends meet over the last month, but police say she did the right thing by handing over the money.
It's like either just give it up and live or basically die for what's yours. I mean, and I have 3 kids, so to me, I'm just basically going to give up the wallet.
Luckily, the woman wasn't hurt. If you've seen the suspect or know who he is, call Crime Stoppers at 262-TIPS.
Next at 6, a local school district asking for nearly $300 million.
Tonight, how the money will be used and what a yes vote means for some of your property taxes.
Plus, school safety and mental health are up for a vote in another district. What a yes vote means for your child's safety.
And our heated race for Senate could have national implications tonight. We're breaking down what's on the line in tonight's election.